We are here and we are live, but let's get this shit started. What the fuck is up? Higher point of view here. It is your West Coast Packer backer, and y'all know it's piece of cheese time, so allow me to introduce you to my guest. Hey, hailing from Western Colorado by way of Green Bay, Wisconsin, another content creator, one of my earliest followers that I recognize. So I'm just happy to actually be able to chop it up with this guy right here. But hey, the Ranting Packers fan, man, what's up with you?
Yeah, hey, it's great to be here. I just, I don't know. I finally calmed down from Sunday, so I'm all good. but
That's been it's getting a little easier for me. I don't know if it's because I'm creating content now, but bro, it used to take me to like Friday, Saturday to get over losses, and I'll finally be ready to watch the Packers again on Sunday. But I'm getting better. I guess it's because I have, I feel like I have a responsibility to tell people what's going on the daily basis. But just for you, bro, I just appreciate you always, fucking with the channel and supporting me from the early beginning. So I asked everybody this. What are the origins of your Packer fandom? I mean, I know you are old school, like, you probably, and this is with all respect, you're probably one of my, older or oldest followers, but to me, that's a fucking good thing because that's just hey, you done forgot more things that I'd have thought of, you know what I'm saying? And you probably seen a whole lot of Packer play in your lifetime. So I would love to just be a sponge with you. But what are the origins of your Packer fandom, bro?
well, I guess I'll start out here. And in about 2 months, I'll be 64. So that means I started in the Lombardi years. so basically, I grew up. I was born and raised in southern Wisconsin, and in 1958. So that takes us back a ways. And I'm actually in, at the time when I was born, I think it was like, well, roughly three generations of Packers fans. Now, of course, it's with grandkids, kids, all that. I'm sure it's like seven generations by now. So um, I got really upset after that game, and the latest video that I made, which was on Sunday, kind of shows that it doesn't do them any justice really. It just rips them pretty much apart, and I don't usually do that. But when I was growing up in the 1960s and on into the 70s with my teen years, we pretty much uh, planned the midday meal around the Packers, especially in my formative years from like up to 10 years old. We would go to church and then get home, and the meal would be started, and the Packers were getting ready to come on TV, and that's kind of what we did. So and about 12 years ago, I met my significant other. She lived in Appleton, which is about 25 miles south of Green Bay, and I spent 6 years there. And of course, I've been all over the country. I've lived quite a few different places in the country, but we spent a lot of time going back and forth to Green Bay. We were in quite a few family nights, and I did make a game back in 2015. It was against the Detroit Lions, and it was, of course, it was a home game. And we lost the game by 3 points because Mason Crosby missed the field goal. But there you go. So, but I guess to broaden the spectrum a little bit, this this season is not unexpected to me. I mean, I've gone through seasons with quarterbacks that were about a quarter of the skill of either Favre or Rodgers,
The
and
Magic Man,
yeah, and they were lucky to
Lynn,
be 8-8.
Lynn Dickey for 1 year.
Yeah, Lynn Dickey, that goes on and on, and when we got Don Mikowski in the early '90s, we thought we had something, and he did. He played quite well, and the team was starting to show signs of life. But I've seen many decades where, be honest, you had to have two teams. One during the season, which would be the Packers, and then the one for the postseason because the Packers weren't going to make it. So I mean, it's not like the Packers have been at the top of the heap forever and ever, because it's going to come to an end, and I have pretty much I have certain thoughts about Rodgers too that I've probably said. I talked about him in videos too, and basically players come and go and the team keeps on going. So I'm not really. I mean, I like Rodgers, but I know there's going to be a time when he leaves, and that's okay, because the team will survive. And of course, we could go into Davante Adams too, but especially since this last weekend. But I don't know. Maybe that's a subject for another time.
Hey, we gonna get into a lot of stuff. So
yeah.
Another thing I just ask all of the people who I get on here, just because I want my own feedback. I'm not trying to I don't know. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or nothing like that. But how did you come across me, and what made you stick with me as far as this channel?
Well, I'm constantly searching, for Packers content, also creators. Actually, you search for Packers content, you're going to get creators. So I run across you, and I just like the way that you just tell it the way it is. You don't sugarcoat nothing. You don't, it is what it is. And so many people, I don't know if it's the players that they're so enamored with, or whatever the case may be, but they just think that everything's so great and really nice, and it's really not that way. It's you gotta look at it, and sometimes I get a little overboard, but you gotta look at it kind of in a reality. They are good at times, they're bad at times. I always say that I've been a fan forever, and all my life gives me a right to cuss them or praise them, whichever happens to be. And you do that, you pretty much, you just put it right out there. And especially when you call out the players, you call out various position groups, whatever the case may be. It's just I like that. I mean, I've got people that I follow that are from other teams in the division and all kinds of different things. So it's pretty diverse, but I like to hear the people that are keeping it real and not necessarily bashing other creators or whatever the case may be, because I've seen that too. And just kind of sticking with the Packers and just letting everybody know what's going on for real.
Hey, I thank you for that. And yeah, man, I'm a creator myself. And look, I come from the streets. If I really want problems, all I got to do is walk outside and I can find them if I wanted them. So I never planned and never ever wanted to have any beef with any other YouTuber and just say anything negative about any other YouTube channel. I mean, there's millions of channels for millions of different kind of people. Clearly, a lot of other people have followings. If they got a following, let them satisfy and cater to them, but that's not my business. And especially ones that's getting money from it, that ain't my business. Hey, they getting the bag, they doing what they need to do to provide for their family. I'm doing what I need to do every day. So but yeah, I thank you for that. But let's get into it. Let's get into it, man. So this past game, it was I was gonna say hard to watch, but it was easy to watch in the first half. But then comes the second half. So shit, it's a little easier for me to talk about it now because I'm less frustrated and I watch film and just calm me down. So who gets the blame pie for you right now for this loss that we had? I mean, and it is a pie, so everybody could get a slice. So, but But what are you looking at this past game we had? Because on your video, your first words, like you said, you normally don't rip people assholes, but your first words was, "What the hell was that shit?" You know what I'm saying? So what what do you think in this last game against the Giants abroad in London? Like, who gets most of the blame pie for you? Offense, defense, and it's not special teams. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sure you heard the rest of the video where I said at halftime, I think somebody either suggested they take a nap or take a shit, but and that's what they did. It isn't one person. I mean, a lot of people will try to put it on Rodgers, and it really is. I mean, there's a certain amount. I like Matt LaFleur's kind of explanation of it. It's everybody. The coaching, I think, and I think you mentioned this too, but the coaching was not good in the second half. They obviously went away from the run game. Um, those three passes in a row and 3 and out, I didn't understand that either. So that's coaching too. And I think Rodgers gets frustrated, and I think he shows that on the field at times. I think that might be part of our one good half, one bad half. The rookies, I try to give them slack, and I hear you kind of talking about that too, because they're still trying to learn things and trying to get on the same page, and I think they will. I think Cobb had a hell of a game. I think Cobb did well. I think for the most part, the line did well. Offensive line, defense. Everybody wants to get rid of Joe Barry, especially after a bad game. But the players have to execute, and I don't think they were executing very well. So I don't think it can all fall on him either. So I believe that there's enough blame to go around. I think that they need to really soul search and look at the tape and correct things and just work toward getting a full 60 minutes of football. And whether they win or lose in that full 60 minutes or not, that's another thing. But I'd like to see a whole 60 minutes of football that they can at least hang their hat on, and we'll take it from there. Now, I've said this, and maybe I've said this to you too. I think I did in a comment or two. I don't really care if, and I'm going to probably get some grief off this, but I don't really care if they win their division. I don't care if they're number one seed. I just always looked at it for years and years and years. Always looked at it. You got to get so many wins to get in the dance, and the dance is the playoffs. And that whatever position that puts you in. Look at 2010; they were 6th seed, and they had to win out like 6 games in a row in the end of the season in order to get that, and then they won the Super Bowl. So you got to get to the dance. I don't care how good you are during the season. You got to get to the dance, and then you've got to be able to play good in the dance. So that's why they talk about December and January as being some of your best football. So
Yeah, it's not about the best team at the end. It's about who's the hottest, And we just got hot at that right moment. James Starks was eating his vegetables and taking his vitamins for that 6 or 7 or 8 game stretch. He came in and was amazing for us. And we went in there, man. We had to go to Philadelphia, had to go to Atlanta, had to go to Chicago, and we did that thing. I never like when the motherfucking media is all over us in a good way. I like when they're, because I'm used to it, but I like when they are putting us under the radar, because I think that's when we do better. We can go on the road and win a playoff game and do certain stuff like that. Again, I'm not going to say no to a 1 seed, because it does put us in best position, definitely to skip a week, without even playing the game in advance. So that's the only thing I see good about that. But the Lambeau mystique is a little different, man. Motherfuckers come in there and just beat us sometimes. It ain't like it used to be. Even Favre held it down as far as you ain't just gonna come in Lambeau and beat us. He started fucking up at the end when the Giants came and did it. But yeah, man, all you gotta do is make the dance. And again, we've been the first seed the past 2 fucking years. What has it gotten us at this point? and it was in disappointing fashion. So that's why this game to me pissed me off, because I'm like, this is the way we fucking lose playoff games, this kind of way. Start off good. Hey, just like that San Francisco game. First drive, we like, oh yeah, we scoring 30. Second drive was going good. Big dog fumbled. Everything changed. So, I know it's early, but again, after a while, it ain't gonna be early no more. But so okay, I like your idea about the blame pie thing. So let me ask you one thing on offense. What would you change?
I think that they need to, once they find a formula that works against a team, they need to stick with it. But also, they've got to keep an eye on what they're doing, what the other team is doing, because they've got to make their adjustments. And they don't necessarily make the adjustments that are good, or they don't even make adjustments. I don't think they made adjustments this last game. I think they needed to, because darn well the Giants weren't going to just sit there and let them run over them and everything. They were going to, they get paid too. So it's going to be, you got to pay attention to what's going on and change things a little bit. So I guess that's what I would do. And this is coaches, this is players, whatever, get together, make the adjustments you need, and stay on the gas and just keep going. I guess that's what I would say about the offense.
Okay, so we did the offense. What about the defense? What's one thing you would change?
Well, I think there again, it's kind of the same type of thing. I think they played really well in the first half. I don't know if the players just didn't execute. Barry came up with something different and decided not to do it, or decided to do it, or a combination of both. But there again, they've got to make their adjustments. They've got to keep their mind in the ball game. They've got to go ahead and play a full 60 minutes of football, and I think, and I've been thinking about this too, about the time difference, the trip to London, all that. And I don't know that there's all that much truth to some of the stuff they say about, all the jet lag, whatever, because I watched the Saints, I watched the Vikings, and I watched the Giants, and also the Packers. And it really didn't affect those other three teams that much. I mean, they seem to play well. So there's something that those three teams did that the Packers didn't do. I don't know, but seems like you can come through and play in a game in London like that and still have a high quality game. And I don't know if I'm really all into this. Well, it's, I don't know what it is, 6 time zones, whatever it is. But I don't think that that's all there is to it. I think I think that, and I've seen it, I think that you can play good all the way through. And I don't really think that is much of a problem as what some people say.
I think that depends on the people, because I'm sure that they get there in enough time where people need to, even if they have to force themselves to sleep or relax, like they have to do it. It's a different time zone. It depends on what they were doing the night before. It depends on the day that they were flown in. I don't know if those teams were out there. Some teams do it like immediately the next week, so they could be there for a few days. Some teams fly out there that Thursday, just like the Packers did. But again, we have to look at flights and see when the other team showed up, if they were there longer than ours. But then it just comes to individuals. You got to get some rest in. Don't be out there partying. Don't be out there going to certain games and stuff. Again, you do what you want to do, but again, this is you exerting certain kind of energy, and then you got to play a game. LaFleur's been there before a couple of times. That's why I thought we had an advantage doing that, but again, it didn't work out the way we wanted it to. I thought you were going to say something, about the soft coverage, but what do you think about that? Like, late in games, the other team know they have to drive. and we're sitting back and letting them catch the ball for like 5 yards and then run for another 5, and you basically just march down the field and score a touchdown or get a game time field goal. Like what it's LaFleur last week called out Joe Barry about it. He didn't really call him out, but the question was asked, and then he kind of said, yeah, I would like to see us do more man, but how do you feel about that?
Well, I think, and you kind of alluded to that, but I think that it bites us in the butt. I think we need to just play our game. Don't, and it's almost like what they're doing is trying to keep everything in front of them, but that doesn't work. They still come down, and we've seen it many times. Like you said, they come down and they end up scoring a touchdown, and I think they just need to play the regular defense. I think that the soft coverage is just BS. I think especially when the game's on the line. It's one thing to do it, when the game might not be decided on that particular drive or whatever. But I think when the game's on the line, I think you just can't do that. That's pretty much it.
I totally agree with you on that. So, I want to kind of, we done talked about the negative. We were upset about that game. It was not a good showing. It was a shit show. We all know it. But hey, we already got an opponent. That's what's good about the regular season. It just keeps going. We on to the next week. We ain't gonna be thinking about this damn game while we watching that game. We gonna be, it's gonna be on to the next opponent. But in this last game to close it out against the Giants, anything good that you've seen in that game? I have a couple things, but anything that you could pull that you would want us to carry over, because again, it's a whole game, but there was also good stuff in this game. I know we like to forget that because we're just thinking about the final drive and the batted down passes and the false start by David and whatever else. But any good that you want to pull from this game that we could take with us on the rest of the year?
Well,
I like the first half.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The first half was, I don't think that's a question, but and the second half, I guess, is what we're actually kind of focusing on. But like you said earlier, the special teams, O'Donnell is just amazing. Nixon is just amazing. He'll get down there and he'll down that ball. I saw that one. Well, it wasn't this game, but it was the game before, I think, where
at the 1 yard line,
right there at about the half-yard line, and kept his feet inbounds, essentially out of the end zone. And then he did another one. Yeah. What was that?
Rudy Ford too.
Yeah, Rudy Ford. Oh yeah, I really like Rudy Ford too. And then this particular game, they're downed inside. I think it might have been the 10, but I'm not really sure if it was the 10 or the 20. But inside the 20, no, regardless. So that special teams is coming along, and I don't think anybody can really complain too much. Other things that I saw, of course, I was glad to see Alexander back. Of course, we saw that big hit that he had. That was amazing. I was glad to see, as far as the offense, Dobbs actually had a couple of good catches and stuff. So I think, he just needs more.
He had a good game.
Yeah, he did. He did. Of course, I've already alluded to Randall Cobb. I think he's back in his 20s or something. He sure seems like he's got a lot of energy now. And Jones and Dillon. I mean, come on, they're a force. They're a force, and you just can't stop using them though. But so I think there's a lot of good things. And I think, especially in the first half, I think Rodgers was kind of on point with his passes. He was pretty quick and crisp, and he just needs to keep the mindset and everything. And everybody needs to keep the mindset and play a full 60 minutes. So there's a lot of good in there, and I've seen that. And I haven't actually watched any, but I've seen there's people out there on YouTube that have kind of broke down the film and everything, and so I may watch some of that. But as far as what I saw on Sunday, just as it was playing out, those are kind of the things that I saw. And the line did look good. The offensive line did look good. I mean, they had a few things happen here and there, but I think overall, I think they kept him, pretty clean essentially for the most part. So, so I think we've got a lot to hang our hat on there, but and as you say, learn from and move on to the next game.
Well, when it's live and you're watching it, it's a lot frustrating, and especially after a game, adrenaline's still going. But when you watch the film, I've been watching it a little bit. When you sit back and watch it, it's not as bad as it looked, live. But it's not as good as it looks sometimes too. So there was still stuff to get from this game, even though, it was really the last couple drives. They had 5 straight drives, but it was the last 2 that really stuck. Like, they could have got the first 3, but the last 2, we had certain times that we could have stopped the drive, or it wouldn't have even got started because of a penalty from Douglas, but he already owned up to it. One thing I wanted to say, we talked about special teams. I'm sorry that it had to happen this way, but I actually see something good happening in this game, and that's Amari Rodgers being removed. They had, that's the first step. First, you got to just get rid of the guy at the spot. Now, I'm not saying the next guy is going to come in and do better, but at least we are putting our resources to it. Like, okay, it's not working here, and we know it, so we're going to make a change. They had Keyshawn Nixon back there to return, and then they had Christian Watson back there to return. I don't know if that's where Watson got hurt at. We can't say that just because he plays special teams, that's where he got hurt at. It's a hamstring. It could have flared up at any time, or I think that's what the injury is. So, yeah, I think Amari being actually gone at those positions, at least that's going to mean we're going to go to the next man. That next man might be better, because Amari is not, he's just mediocre. He's just regular. If the rest of the special teams is playing good this way, you've seen the operation on field goal. You've seen the way we've been doing on punt. All Mason's kicks look great. Straight down the middle, had some spin on it. Like, everything with special teams is going good except for this. So I'm glad that, hey, Basashia, that shows that, he ain't fucking around, because he could have just sat there, oh, Amari's the returner, that's just our returner. No, he's like, nah, fuck this. Get over here. We're going to have somebody else come in there. So we'll see, And again, if it doesn't work with the next guy, then I think Goody is going to have to use his resources and get somebody from free. There's a free agent returner out there, I'm sure. There's a guy, motherfucker, right off the top of my head, DeAnthony Thomas. There's guys out there that's just sitting around, so I'm glad we putting resources into that. So.
Oh, absolutely. And as far as Amari is concerned, if you look at his body of work, he's got a few splash plays, but like you said, mediocre. He really hasn't done a lot. I mean, he's not exactly filling the bill, so to speak, of what we need out of a guy like that. So whether he stays around or whether he takes the route of Kevin King, I said Kevin King, but anyway, we don't know. I don't think he's a Kevin King, but I do think that he is limited on what he can actually do. So, there I go, talking about probably my thoughts of Kevin King, but he's gone. So I guess we'll just let that lie.
But look, hey, I said myself, Amari all year last year, 4 catches for 38 yards. I would have expected him to come in his second year and do better than that, but he is not on pace. He is not even thought of when it comes to the offense. Maybe, and again, hopefully it doesn't, but maybe if Cobby did get hurt or was out for a significant amount of time, maybe they would, try Amari there, because that's his position. So maybe this is dependent on how good Randall Cobb has been playing, but Amari now, he has no place on this team. 3rd round pick. They took you off of offense completely. They took you off of punt and kickoff. So what is it going to be? You're going to be on kickoff. You're just going to go down and make tackles now. I don't know. Goody is I just like that they see that something's not going right and they just not going with it just because he's a high pick. They got to get him out of there. But so again, the hard feelings and all that. I wasn't even mad at the Giants because they came out and had a good game. But I'm already over that week's game. So the close is out. I just want to ask you, what are your early thoughts on the next opponent? Have you looked at the Jets? Do you think? And then, so obviously, you're not hitting the panic button either, are you? Because there
No,
are some Packer fans that are hitting the
no,
panic
not
button.
at
How do
all.
you feel about that?
I'm not hitting the panic button. I've seen too many seasons of Packers, so there's no panic. But I have looked a little bit at the Jets as far as the Jets are concerned. They this year they're a surprising team. I think they've got some people there that seem to be able to play, and they seem to and the coaching isn't really too bad, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So I think that as far as the Packers are concerned, and it's going to be kind of like a broken record, as they say, the Packers are just going to have to strap it up and play their 60 minutes of football, because and I don't know if it was a bit, it might have been the last video you talked or you had or whatever, but and I think it was, but there is no team, and I agree with this, no team out there, and I think that you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no team out there that the Packers are just going to walk over. And
yeah, I remember saying that.
yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with you, because I watch that stuff. I watch your stuff, and I remember
I
it.
appreciate that.
And
I appreciate it.
but I agree with you. This and what and this is going to get a little off, but that's okay. And I talk about the fans from the last, well, I guess 30 years. I say from 2000 on, but they've been spoiled. And believe me, the next few years, the Packers are going to go back to teams just like the 70s and 80s, because they're going to be rebuilding. They're going to be looking for a quarterback. They're going to be looking for a lot of stuff. But as far as this season goes, my little saying is they've got to strap up and play a good full 60 minutes of football, because those teams are coming, and they're not gonna quit either. So that's
Especially
kind
at
of how I look at
Lambeau.
it. It's kind of how I look at it. I think the Packers can beat the Jets, but there again, it's back to what I've been saying. They can't just get a lead and then sit on it, or start slow and expect to win. They've got to get going, and it all starts at home. I believe it's a 12 o'clock local start at Lambeau, and they need to win this week. They need to win this week and then carry on, because we don't worry about any other team like the Vikings or anything, because we still got to play them again, and we just see how it all unfolds by December. So that's kind of how I look at this week, at least going into this week.
Hey, great points. So we're gonna close this out. Hey, I got a question. Where's my boy, man? Where's Skelly, man? I was expecting to see him. Am I blind? Is he not around?
Yeah, he's sleeping, but he's here. Here, hold on.
Okay. Hey, tell him I said what's up. I thought I was gonna see him.
Hold on.
All right.
Whip him right in here. Look at that. Hey. Look at that. Wasn't that quick?
So Skelly here. This for you, bro.
There you go. I need to get some of that out here. It's legal here too, so I need to get some of that out here and have Skelly have some right there smoking it.
I wish I could send you some, man. But I'm so paranoid. I don't know.
You can't send that stuff. You can't even.
Of course.
I'll tell you. And I can't tell that story, because I'll get in trouble with the law probably.
Oh yeah, hey, yeah. They need to stay away from me.
But what I'll say is, when you and this is just in general, it has nothing to do with the Packers or nothing. When you're traveling and you're from a state that has legalized marijuana, pot, whatever, like Colorado and California too. Is that right? Okay.
Yep.
So you're traveling, especially when we decide to travel back east to Wisconsin. We get pulled over a lot for very little. And they come up and they're sniffing with their nose, thinking they're one of those drug sniffing dogs. And I've probably said enough to get me in a lot of trouble already, but that's okay.
No, we good. I totally understand you.
Yeah, okay. But you got to be careful. What I'm saying is you got to be careful. You got to make sure that stuff is nowhere in your vehicle or anything when you're traveling, because it's just they're out there. There's some people that are really looking for that. But anyway, yeah, I need to get some of that for Skelly anyway. Maybe that would be kind of cool, figuring out a way to do that. And then
for sure. Hey, I'm gonna see if I got anybody in Colorado. I know a lot of folks, so we gonna have to get them some of that. But hey, this was very fun, bro. I'm glad we actually got to do this. Hey, you guys, go follow him, the Ranting Packers fan. Normally short, condensed videos, which is good for me. That's my kind of life. I'm always on the move. I like to watch a little short video and keep it moving, but hey, the videos are short, but he hits every point that needs to be hit. He's, again, look at him. He's seen a lot of Packer football that we haven't seen. And, he's been through a lot as a Packer fan. He's not nervous or anything right now. It is not time to hit the panic button. We've been through many seasons. Me too, man. There's been a lot of bad starts, and we 3-2 sitting here complaining. So there's other teams. Look at the Raiders. Look at the Jets, the team we about to play. Look at a couple other teams. We have a lot more hope than them still. And again, it's still early, but that's it. But hey, Randy, it was a pleasure to have you on here, man. We're gonna have to catch up again later on in the season when something else happens, and just to see where we're at. But I thank you for coming on, and thank you for having Skelly there too.
Oh yeah. Skelly likes to get most of the video time anyway. But
he's the star of the show.
Oh yeah, he is. He always has been. But I've watched some of the later Lombardi teams with Robinson and all them. Dave Robinson, he was a force. But and all of them, Bart Starr, probably in his later years.
Hey, look, we're gonna say that I already had that idea. I'm gonna talk to you off. But bro, again, like you seen so much shit. I want to ask you about shit, right? I want to ask you about a lot of stuff. So that might have to be a whole nother segment in its own. But
we definitely will. But it'd be a nice little teaser there. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, that was a teaser. Like, bro, I got so many. Yeah, so I got to get that together though. I got to start figuring out how I'm gonna approach it with you and all that.
So, I'm also starting up. I've got several little shorts going on, halftime shorts, just like this last one. Or sometimes I just get on there and say, the Packers got a slow start and they just got to get their shit together or whatever, or maybe just a short on just anything, it could be the injury report, whatever. But anyway, I got every once in a while I get a little short going out there, and I've had like 1,500, 2,000 views on some of that stuff, and it's kind of ridiculous, but whatever. But
yeah, but look,
good.
Yeah, again, you like I said, some of the videos be short, but you put so much information in those videos. You go over the injury report, you go over like, who's gonna, be a key player in the game to stop. Like, you cover everything. Me, I can't shut the hell up. I be trying to make 10-minute videos and that should be going 20 minutes. I don't be wanting to bore people or hold people up. But so I'm gonna end this. But hey, y'all already heard it right here. Y'all expect to see us do some other kind of content, but I'm an old school Packers fan too, so I just want to ask him about certain players who I just love to watch, all kind of players. I don't even want to start naming right now, so that's gonna be another time. But again, hey Randy, I thank you again. All y'all go follow his channel, and I hope y'all like this shit. But we out this bitch.
Well, thank you, and go light one up for me, will you?
Oh, I'm about to do it again. Hey, okay. I appreciate it.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Yep.